G'day guys, what's going on and welcome back to the channel. I am back from my break off YouTube. I'm back. It's been a long 4 weeks for you guys, but I am back. I'm going to be consistent now, from now on, at least I'll try. Smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, and without further ado, we're going to be reacting to the 2025 Gather Round fixtures, and let's get into it. So, the first game, we have Adelaide taking on Geelong on the Thursday night to kick off Gather Round in 2025 at 4:40 p.m. AWST, which is 7:10 Adelaide, I think. It's going to be a good game from what I'm getting. Geelong are probably the major favourites going into this, but Adelaide, they aren't that bad in Adelaide, if I'm being honest. But I reckon you could have, had better teams to play. Geelong's fine, but you could have had, maybe, Collingwood versus Geelong or Brisbane versus Geelong. Oh, well, not Brisbane versus Geelong because they're an opening round, I think. Or, Sydney versus Geelong. Two top 4 teams last season, or that are premiership contenders in 2025. But Adelaide kick off Gather Round. It is their state after all, so I'm not going to complain. This Adelaide logo is old. I'm sorry about that, but so I reckon the first game could be better, but Adelaide versus Geelong, not bad. The second game on the Friday night, now this is a slot that I like. Collingwood versus Sydney. On the Friday night, Collingwood, they had a major premiership hangover last season. And Sydney, they were the minor premiers and the runners-up to be the AFL premiers in 2024. They are hot contenders in 2025. Collingwood's well. They could sneak themselves into the 8 this season, not like 2024, where they fell off majorly. But Collingwood-Sydney, will be a very good matchup for the Friday night game. When they play out, sometimes it's close, sometimes it's not, but the prelim final in 2022, that was really close and should be pretty close again, Collingwood versus Sydney. I rate that fixture. Well done, whoever created this fixture. The next game on Saturday to 9:35 a.m. AWST, pretty early. North Melbourne Kangaroos take on the Gold Coast Suns. So what are my genuine thoughts on this Gather Round fixture? I don't hate it, but I don't love it. But North been horrible for the past 4 years. 2021, 2, 3, 4. And they weren't good in 2020 as well. So North, and then Gold Coast, they can only win at home, is all I'm going to say. They could only beat, Essendon and Richmond away last season. And they play amazing at People First Stadium. But Gold Coast, if you look at it on paper, Gold Coast are heavy favourites and they're a very good side. Anderson will probably have a good game. David Zinyak for North. Darling, if he's playing. But I reckon this is a very good game to start off Saturday, in my opinion. North Melbourne versus Gold Coast, that is a very good fixture for Gather Round. I rate that AFL. So, well done for that game. And now, West Coast versus Carlton, 10:20 a.m. Australian Western Standard Time. Carlton, they had a very good start to last season. Then they fell off. Then they came amazing again. Then they fell off again. Carlton are a very good football club, and they're capable of winning the premiership, in my opinion. They could be up in that grand final. They could have been last year. They played too lazily in their games, Carlton, last year. They didn't put as much effort in as they were playing in 2023 or 2. And they only just got the stroke in the finals. I think it was 8th. Yes, it was 8th. And then West Coast, They fell off from 2022 to 2024, but Andrew McWalter, the new coach for the Eagles, can he lead them to glory into top 8? I don't know. Harley Reid said he could. But this season we're looking good for Harley Reid, Baker, Kelly, Yo, Waterman, Allen, Owies, I think. Yeah, we signed Owies. We've got some new youngsters from the draft. McGovern probably is going to be all-Australian form again. And Duggan, captain as well. But I reckon this West Coast team is very capable of winning a lot of games this season. And Carlton versus West Coast, from how the teams performed last season, West Coast did pretty good for West Coast standards. And Carlton did horribly. I reckon this is a good game to put and gather around. Saturday, twilight. Well, it's not twilight. It's twilight for Victorian stuff, but not for me. At 1:15 Australian Western Standard Time, the Doggies take on the Lions, the reigning premiers, versus a team that got knocked out in the elimination final. The Bulldogs, they've got Bunt, McRae, their team's looking very good, Caleb Daniel, but they haven't had Bailey Smith for a bit, and they've lost him as well. That's a very big out for the Dogs. But they've got a few picks from Geelong that they could use to replace Bailey Smith. But Bailey Smith is a big out from the Dogs. And Brisbane, they didn't do as much. They didn't do a lot in the trade period. So they've got a pretty good team. Joe Danaher's going to be a massive blow, though, in the forward line because he will not be playing in 2025 or onwards because he has retired from AFL football. But 1:15, gather around 2025. Western Bulldogs versus Brisbane. Pretty good contest in my opinion. Could have done it a little bit better, like Brisbane versus Sydney or Brisbane versus like a top 4-3 team, Brisbane versus Port maybe. But not bad of a fixture for gather rounds, and I rate this gather round fixture. I reckon this is great, but it could have been a lot better. The night game, Melbourne versus Essendon on Saturday night footy. The D's horribly performed last season. The Bombers, well, everyone expected it, didn't you? Like, the Bombers, they're just Essendon at this rate. Essendon or Essendon. Not the best, not the worst, just a mid-table team. The Z's you'd expect to at least scrape into the 8. They're usually a top 4 side, but last season was not the case. They finished in the bottom 5, I think, if not bottom 6. But they fell off last season, the Demons, and they need to improve this season because Track, hopefully he performs. I don't know if he moved or not. I've not been updated on that. But the D's and the Essendon Bombers, very good game for Saturday night. I rate it. Starting off the Sunday, Richmond versus Freo. Richmond, wooden spooners last season, nothing else to say. They've got a lot of picks in the draft, though, which could up their game. Fremantle got robbed of finals. I'm a West Coast fan, but I'm just being completely honest. Fremantle got robbed of the finals against Carlton. But at 9:35 a.m. Australian Western Standard Time, Richmond, they lost Graham and Baker and Dusty and a few other players for the Tigers. And then Freo, they've kept their main players like Sarong and stuff. But they got Shai Bolton, which will be very good for Fremantle. Very good small forward, very handy. And Fremantle, they should win this game, you'd imagine. But for Fremantle, they're not a massive, massive, massive club. Like, Richmond are a very big club. So, but Fremantle, they need to redeem themselves from last go around from getting robbed. But Richmond versus Freo, good game for Sunday. Alright, now St Kilda versus GWS Giants. This is perfect. GWS Giants, they've made top 4 last season. They choked twice. They should have been in the prelims, I think, if they didn't choke badly to Sydney. And they should have been in the prelims either way, but they choked even worse to the Lions. But the Lions ended up winning the premiership, so you can't complain. But GWS, they are capable of making the grand final, in my opinion. St Kilda, well, they haven't won a grand final in, 60 years or something. But they could make the final. 2023 they did, so they could be doing it in 2025. But they lost, what's his name, who went to the Hawks? His name will be up on the screen above the St Kilda logo. Sorry about that, but forgot his name very late at night. But St Kilda versus GWS Giants, it should be a very good game on the Sunday at 12:20pm at the Australian Western Standard Time. But St Kilda versus GWS, pretty good game. All right, now the last game of Gather Round, Port Adelaide Power versus the Hawthorn Hawks. AFL, well done. This is an amazing game. The semi-final remix. Port Adelaide, they're looking great going into the season. But Dixon retired. That's bad. Hawthorn, how good are they looking? They got Tom Barrass, the St Kilda midfielder. His name was up on the screen like a minute ago. But Hawthorn Hawks, they are capable of top 4 this season. They could even be top 3 if they push hard enough. Hawthorn, you are my premiership contenders for 2025, Hawks. And Port Adelaide, they had a very good season in 2024, and they could carry it on in 2025. They got knocked out in the prelim, but they could be flag contenders in 2025. Port Adelaide and Hawthorn, I rate it. But yeah. But sadly for you guys, I'm done with this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm done for my break. I hope to be very consistent. I've been dropping off on views, so please subscribe, like, share this to anyone you know. And I hope you have an amazing day wherever you're watching this and whenever. Have a good one. Peace.